little full handle. So you have a lot of options for that one. This one is a one-step lid, so it's like one and done, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw a little thin disc of clay, but leave a blob of clay in the middle. That's gonna be thrown into some kind of a little handle. They look like a little chess piece, like a pawn or something, okay? And then we'll measure the outside, cut it to the measurement that's on this paper, and then you just run the wire under it and it's done. When it gets leather hard, you pick it up and it fits into the lid. These lids work for spanning small items, like this little sugar bowl, that's fine, or a little jar. If you took ceramics too and did pottery and you're gonna make a big casserole dish or something, you would have to do a dome. This kind of lid is required for spanning larger areas, because domes can span large areas. But these little lids like this, you can do this kind, but they are not practical for anything too big. All right, so let's get going on that. So I'll go ahead and throw the one step first. You don't need a lot of clay for these. In fact, I'll probably not use very much of this clay at all. And I had another apron here. Now I have a confession to make. I haven't thrown on the potter's wheel since, I want to think, January of last year. It's been over a year since I've done pottery. So we'll hopefully, it's like riding a bike. And I started throwing in 1978, so I should still remember what to do here. Okay, make sure the wheel is kind of just barely damp, but dry enough that it doesn't slide around. Get that put on really well. And we're gonna go ahead and center this. Up to a cone, down to a dome, cone, dome, cone, dome. And then what we're gonna do is bring your thumb off to the side, off to the left here, and then just come down a little bit. And you'll see the clay is gonna start to flare out. You wanna take the side of your hand and kind of push that in. You don't want it to overlap on itself or it's going to create creases. All right, so we'll just go down again and then press that down. So as you press down, just make sure that it's spreading out and doesn't fold over on itself. That's super important. Now if this gets a little ooey out here, no big deal, okay? So you just want to make sure that this part is nice and centered, and you want it about a quarter of an inch thick, and you can pretty much eyeball that. Okay, and we're going to leave this here in the middle. Now I've got a tremendous amount there. I don't need all that clay for that handle. So I'm looking for a needle tool. I don't see one. Anybody hand that needle tool? It's pretty neat. Thank you very much. I'm going to take a lot of this off because I don't need it. Okay, so now that I've got that done, that's about a quarter inch thick. I want to go ahead and make sure I'm making it big enough. So on this one, I'm going to take the calipers and I'm going to put them to the outside of the measurement. So I'm going right inside the lines, but I'm measuring from the outside. So those are right there. So I've got plenty. I've got plenty for that one. So I'm not going to cut that. Cutting that off is going to be the last thing. So I'm going to go ahead and just play with this piece here, and I can just, I think I still have more than I want, so let me just take it off. And I can just do any kind of thing I want in the middle here. You can just kind of have fun with this. So I'll just kind of center this little column, and maybe make a top to it like that. Maybe I'll make a little dip in this. So you can just play around with this, whatever looks fun to you on that. It's all fun. Line there, a little bit more of a line. And then I think I'll make it just a little skinnier down in here. Just give it a little more elegance. And then I just want to smooth everything out really nice on that. Also, if I want to emphasize any lines, I can take a rib that has a point to it, or any pointed tool. I can emphasize a line. I'll just run the sponge over that gently. All those will catch the glaze really nice later on. And always get down and look at it from the side and see if you like it. I think I'll put another little line here just to kind of make a transition from the lid. And I could leave that completely blank, or I could put another design line out here if I want to. Whatever suits your style. Just getting all the throwing lines cleaned up on this. All right, now to finish this one off, I'm going to double check my measurement. Always measure twice, cut once. That's a old rule. Make sure the calipers didn't move around on me. That flat. Looks like that's just right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take, I want the wheel turning away from me, so I'm going to do this measurement on the right side. I'm just going to like go down and make a line, and I can see that that isn't matching up with that one, right? So I'll just keep moving inward a little bit until, do you see the magic? So now the lines are matching on both sides. So you kind of work your way across, and then when you see it's matching on both sides, that's the magic cutoff point. So take your needle tool and go straight down there, and then just cut underneath that little donut. So you can see it, even if it's wobbling around, that won't matter, right? Because we're just going to cut it off at that spot. And then we're going to take the sponge and round off the edge just slightly, trying not to change the shape of the thing at all. And then I'm going to do another measurement. This time it's going to be at the very bottom where it touches the wheel. If there's a little, you can see that my cut is clean. There's some of that little stuff there that will just brush off later, and then you run a sponge around it. So what I want to do is see, and again I'll just double check that it didn't move on me. See, these things can move really easily. See, it did. Readjust. Okay, so I should be able to slide that right in there. See how that's perfect? So that should fit just right. Okay, so now I'm going to take a wire cutter and cut that off. And I'm just going to leave it there. Now you want to make sure the wheel is turning when you cut it, because if it's not turning and you run the wire under it, you'll pull the lid into an oval shape, and then it's not going to fit in the round format that you have over there. So I'm going to pull this, make sure this wire is clean, pull it nice and tight so that I'm not getting anything weird going on there. I'm just going to pull it across while the wheel's turning slowly. That'll keep it symmetrical. That one's done. So you just leave it on the bat. Okay, so now I'm going to do the second one, which is going to be the bowl lid. Make sure my bat's in there nice. No rocking on the bat. If it was rocking, I'd turn the bat over, of course, because these bats tend to warp a little bit. Where's my